Hey folks, I'm Gadget Guy here, and we're wrapping up our time with the Lenovo Yoga 2 with Windows. It's been an interesting tablet experience after using the monster 13-inch Yoga tab with Android. How does the experience differ with Microsoft's OS? Let's take a look. Into a brief hardware comparison, the 10-inch Yoga compares very well with my old Surface 2 RT, one of the few other tablets to sport a built-in kickstand. And also here's a quick comparison with Acer's Switch 10. It also makes the 13-inch Yoga look comically large by comparison. Walking around the hardware, we start off with a great 10-inch IPS display at a resolution of 1920 by 1200, with genuinely good color and viewing angles. A punchy backlight means you can use this tablet pretty easily outdoors in all but direct sunlight conditions. The front-facing camera is a 1.6 megapixel camera sensor capable of shooting 720p video. It looks like it's gonna be fine for video chat applications if you want to take a Skype call, but I don't know that it would be my first pick for any kind of vlogging or YouTube production camera. Below the screen, we have a pair of front-facing speakers. We've produced a completely separate speaker test video, but I found playback to be decent enough. The tablet lacks the mini subwoofer found on the 13-inch Yoga, and playback is thinner and a bit tinier than its bigger brother. It holds up well against the output from the NVIDIA Shield, but an HTC One M8 can still handily give it a run for its money. The left side of the tablet is where we'll find a power button, micro USB port to charge or to use as a USB host, and a volume rocker. The right side is where we'll find a 3.5mm headset jack, the built-in microphone, and a micro HDMI output. The rear of the tablet will find a somewhat low-mounted 8-megapixel camera capable of shooting 1080p video, and under a flap we've got access to a micro SD card slot. But on the bottom, this is also where we find one of the Yoga's defining features, the built-in kickstand, which swivels to provide the multi-mode usage Lenovo has been pushing since the release of Windows 8. In this case, you can prop it up tall, use the tablet as a shallow wedge, or hang the tablet from a hook. I still personally haven't found a great use for hanging mode, but I suppose if you had the wall space and a hook in a kitchen, this would be a great way to watch video and read a recipe while cooking. Lastly, Lenovo continues an asymmetrical build on the Yoga, with the bottom of the tablet and landscape containing a large cylindrical battery, specifically a 9600 milliamp hour battery, which Lenovo rates for around 15 hours of use. And I regularly got 2 days of activity while using the Yoga for social media, email, writing documents, and streaming a couple episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This much juice also comes in handy for those times you might need to recharge your phone, say if you're using your phone as a hotspot when out in the field. I really like this design when using it handheld. The battery acts like a grip in portrait mode, and I've always been a fan of Lenovo build quality. The metal and plastic of this medium-sized Yoga feels like it could handle a little abuse out in the field. Included in this kit is a Bluetooth keyboard with a magnetic section which attaches to the bottom of the Yoga tablet. It slides around to close like a clamshell and works with the kickstand to prop up on tabletops like a proper laptop. We'll talk about the keyboard more in just a bit. General performance is pretty snappy. It's hard to detect any difference in sliding around the UI between the Yoga and my Core i5 Twist. Sticking to Metro apps, the Atom quad-core processor seems to deliver smoother performance here than what I experienced on the higher resolution 13-inch Android Yoga. Even gameplay is fairly lag-free, getting into titles like Spartan Assault or Asphalt 8. Much like Windows Phone performance, I find Microsoft is getting closer to the liquidy smooth performance iOS is praised for than similarly spec'd Android gear. Of course, you don't need to stick with apps on a machine like this. This is a full build of Windows 8.1 and you have full access to traditional desktop and legacy programs. It's a liberating experience being able to juggle back and forth between apps and real programs. Sure, I could record a voice memo in an app, or I could fire up a free program like Audacity and do some real audio recording and editing. Yeah, I could use a photo app to lay on a filter or crop, or I could fire up a free program like GIMP and do some Photoshop grade editing with real layers. And this applies to just about everything. Sure, this little Atom processor won't perform as quickly as a Core processor, so those GIMP edits and Audacity audio rendering will take noticeably longer. But if the choice is taking longer to get real work done or not getting it done at all, I'll take the hit on time. It's actually kind of an exciting time as ARM-powered tablets approach the power of low-cost x86 solutions, and low-power x86 starts to achieve the battery longevity of ARM processors. The main issue I have with iOS and Android is still a lack of software to really take advantage of more powerful ARM processors. Apps are getting more sophisticated, but they still don't quite achieve the same power user position as a lot of the software we take for granted on desktops and laptops. Tablets like the Yoga should also make it abundantly clear that Windows RT is an evolutionary dead end. While While I still regularly use my Lumia 2520 for writing and watching video, it feels frustratingly limited after firing up Lenovo's solution here. That we're talking about a full Windows tablet with a keyboard at a significantly lower price point than what RT gear used to sell for is kinda mind-boggling. And speaking of the keyboard, it's a handy little typer, nice key travel, though I always wish there was just a bit more clack in the hardware feedback. Considering it's built to line up with a 10-inch screen, it's well spaced out, though even after writing several thousand words on it, I still find myself making errors, most often hitting caps instead of shift, and missing the apostrophe key, which is one of the few keys made half-width. Sensors in the screen detect when the keyboard is covering the display to turn it off, and the screen wakes up when opened. I haven't experienced any pairing lag either. So long as the keyboard is switched on, it seems to preserve some contact with the tablet for fast connection. The magnet in the keyboard is thankfully powerful enough to support the weight of the whole keyboard, and while I was using it at a coffee shop, it was kinda great sticking to the outdoor metal tables. Made the whole setup really stable while typing and swiping on the screen. There's a tiny little touchpad, which is good enough for a little light document editing or to navigate elements on the screen using the traditional desktop. It's a bit twitchy, which shouldn't be surprising given its size, so I would recommend a dedicated mouse for any extended use. Pairing the Yoga up with my Microsoft Bluetooth Comfort mouse was easy enough. The whole setup almost but not quite duplicates a laptop experience. I find it still somewhat difficult to type out longer messages while using the Yoga in my lap. The magnet holds things together well, but the smallish kickstand can make it a little difficult to find a comfortable angle to use for a longer couch session. Angle too shallow and the two pieces just kind of flop apart. I do have a few criticisms for the Yoga. For one, and this goes for the whole phone and tablet industry, not just Lenovo, but we need to start advertising how much storage the end user has available instead of reporting total built-in storage. Sure, the Yoga comes with 32 gigabytes, but after converting to binary, formatting, installing a pretty large OS, and carving out an installation partition, you'll be left with about half that much. And I definitely recommend investing in a memory card for media to preserve built-in storage for software. Recharging the battery can be a somewhat slow affair. It's a big battery, so even connected to the official charger, expect about 15 to 20% per hour with screen off. Powering it off of a portable battery, you'll need to make sure you have a 2 amp output, but that will be enough to slowly recharge the unit while using it on Wi-Fi. It's crazy to think that when paired with my 15,000 milliamp hour power bank, I could keep this thing running for around 5 days of moderate use. I am a little concerned with the metal edge on the kickstand. It's sharp enough that sliding it around, it felt like I could easily scratch the surface of my dining room table. I'm not terrifically impressed by the capacitive home button on the front face. It's not that responsive, and I could often get home faster from the Charms bar than with the multiple presses it took to use the front face hardware. Also, as this tablet starts to blur the line between consumer and professional portable gear, I really would like to start seeing full-sized USB ports included. You can use a micro USB to USB OTG adapter, and those adapters are cheap, but that's another little dongle you might lose. And that brings us to price. At the time this video was shot, the 10-inch Yoga 2 with Windows was selling for $369 with the Bluetooth keyboard included. This undercuts the base model iPad Mini 3 and Nexus 9 by around $40, and the iPad Air 2 by $140. Not too shabby for a product that's capable of utilizing desktop software and starts to compete with entry-level laptops. The Windows tablet market is heating up fast, however, and in this space, Lenovo has to fend off Toshiba's Encore, a killer Asus, which features a 500GB hard drive in the keyboard dock, and the Acer Switch 10, which doubles the built-in storage but reduces the screen resolution for around $70 less. And we'll have a full review on that tablet soon too. It's exciting to see this ecosystem expand. Windows RT is properly dead, but the more I use these Atom-powered portables, the less confident I am in recommending Android or iOS slates, especially if office or document productivity is required. These Windows tablets are turning into solid road warrior companions. Do a little writing, watch some video, hook up to a monitor or TV, play with a few apps, do some recording or light editing, use whichever real web browser I want, all with great battery life. Tablets killed off the netbook market, but these new Windows hybrids are doing a pretty good job of rejoining the competition. I'll leave some links down below this video where you can find more info on the 10-inch Yoga 2 with Windows and where you can shop it online. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe for more reviews like these, and I would not be able to continue producing on this channel if you all weren't out there sharing my videos with your family, friends, and on social media, so keep bringing more cool people to the party. Hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you all on the next review.